Hi, hi there. Glad you could join me for the week 4 learning guide. This is let me count here. I believe we're on part 3 here of the week 4 learning guide, and we're quickly making our way through all of the topics. And so I hope you're doing well. We have a lot of information to cover here. So just a quick reminder, if this is the first time that you're seeing my face, please make sure it is not the last by hitting the like and subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification every time a new video is posted, and that will help you with your experience through your math class. For this video, I'm going to be covering just the examples on this document. Now, if you don't have this document, I'll put a link to it in the description there. That way you can download a copy for sure if you would like to. But this video is going to focus mainly on increasing and decreasing functions as well as odd and even functions. And I've left you a little note here that functions, when the y value goes up from left to right, we say that is increasing. When the y value goes down from left to right again, then we say that the function is decreasing. We'll use that in problem number 3, but before we do that, let's go ahead and check out problem number 1, which is asking us for f plus g of 4. Now, f of 4 plus g of 4 is what that really means for us. This is what it's saying. Take the y value on the f graph when x is 4 and add it to the y value on the g graph when x is 4 also. So let's take a look. This graph that I have here, I'm highlighting, is labeled f. And when x is 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, this graph has a y value of -3. So that means that f of -4 is, f of +4 is -3. Now we'll do the same. Let me grab a different color highlighter. I love to use my highlighters when we're doing math. And we're going to look at the other graph, which is the g of x graph. When x is 4, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, this curve is right here at 4. And so the y value is 4, and this is asking us to add these two numbers together, so we get that our answer is 1. So f plus g of 4 is 1 here. Now, the second question is asking us for f minus g of -1. So we're looking for the y value on the f graph when x is -1, and we'll subtract then the y value on the g graph when x is -1. So on the f graph, that's our yellow one, when x is -1, the y value is right there, and it's 3, minus. Now, on the g graph, that's the orange one, when x is -1, the y value is right here at -1. So now we subtract those. 3 minus -1 would be the same thing as 3 plus +1, and we get 4. Okay, now I know the adding and the subtracting here is simple, but the finding of those values and reading that graph is really what we're looking for in this particular type of problem. So remember, when we're looking for f of 4, we're saying, what is the y value on the f graph when x is 4? And you can count that on your graph. Now let's move on to problem number 2 here. We're asked to find the slope of the line containing these 2 points. We have used this formula before, so I'm going to add it to our notes section. We used it in a previous video, so I want you to use it again here. Remember that y2 and y1 are simply labels for the y coordinates, which are the second coordinates in each of our points. So we're literally subtracting these y values. I'm going to go ahead and label them, making this one x1 and y1, and then making this one x2 and y2. And now we'll go ahead and put those in our formula. So remember, our formula says m equals y2 minus y1. So we have m equals y2, which is 14, minus y1, which is negative 2, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is negative 3. And now we just perform these calculations. Now you can put these in your calculator. Put the top in by itself. 14 minus negative 2 that should tell you that's 6. And then put in 5 minus negative 3, and that should tell you it's 8. And then you can do 16 divided by 8, which is 2. So our slope here is 2. I will caution you against putting all of that in one step, like putting all the numerator in, then divide by put all the denominator in. It's really hard to get it in correctly all in one step, but if you'll break it apart and do the top in your calculator, get an answer, put the bottom in your calculator, get an answer, and then do the division, I think that's going to work out nicely for you. Okay, last problem for this particular part of the learning guide for week 4. This is asking us to give the intervals where the function is increasing, decreasing, or constant and tell whether it's odd, even, or neither. Okay, let's deal with the increasing and decreasing. Now, the increasing part, that's where the y values go up as we move from left to right. So I'm going to highlight the part where the y values, I start on the left. The y values go up here until we get here. And then they go down, but then they go back up here. And so what I have to do is I have to write an interval that says, hey, this is where it increases. You have to be really careful because we're writing these intervals in terms of x. So I have to say my x values from here to here is where we're increasing. Now, to put my interval there, that's going to be from negative infinity to negative 1. Remember, I'm writing these for x values. And then I'm going to start here and go out here to get the next one. And that would be from 1 to positive infinity. Now, I put that u in between them simply to show that it's going to be both of them. So this is where it's increasing. And obviously the decreasing is then going to be in the middle. So I'll say that it decreases from negative 1 to 1. This particular function is not constant because it doesn't have a horizontal component, a horizontal piece to it. So then our last piece is to identify whether it's odd, even, or neither. So I'm going to make a few notes for myself. Odd functions have origin symmetry. Even functions have y-axis symmetry, and neither have none. Okay, so origin symmetry is, can you rotate the graph 180 degrees and get the same graph? I just take my paper and rotate it. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees and see if I get the same graph. And look at that. I do. I get the exact same graph. So that tells me this has origin symmetry, which O with O means that this is going to be an odd function. Y-axis symmetry, by the way, would have been if I could have taken on the y-axis and folded the graph and got mirror images on both sides. That would have been y-axis symmetry, and that would have been even. So if you have any questions or you want some more resources, definitely connect with me on one of my social medias there. I would love the opportunity to help further. Bye for now.